Hi, it's a girl Red Rose Urban Missionary. Thank you so much for joining me over lunch, but I know you'll be watching this video after lunch. So I thought I should do a video that will really help you because it has helped me. So you'll understand that most of the videos that I do, the videos that things that have been helpful to me, and I believe that they'll be helpful to you too. So today I'm going to do a video that entitled Receiving Feedback. So this video is a two-way video. It's one that is about receiving feedback and the other one about giving feedback. But I want to start off by doing a video on receiving feedback because I think that's the hardest, to receive feedback, especially if the feedback is negative, and especially if the feedback wasn't given in a way that you expected. And I want to say that this video was inspired by my annual appraisal performance appraisal that I was doing with my boss, that is early last month. So it was pretty much evaluating my performance over the year, and just just giving me feedback. So it was basically about me evaluating how I feel I performed in that year, and then she also independently assessed me. Then we sat down together and we were able to share the different grades, and and it was a good it was very, my boss is very professional, so it was a very professional meeting, or should I say appraisal process, which I loved. And this is not the first time I've done appraisals. I've been doing appraisals almost in all my in my roles, but this one was very special to me because obviously, that I received a lot of positive stuff, but because she said specifically about receiving feedback, one of the things that came out is that beyond obviously my performance being good, of course, but she said she was impressed by the way I now receive feedback. Like in this new project, she's observed that I have become very positive when it comes to giving feedback. I found it very interesting because I always thought that I knew how to receive feedback, but then she went on to explain to me how previously, like, I would be very defensive, when she gives me feedback, which, to tell you the truth, I don't think I was. I would give reasons and so on, but she said in this particular appraisal, and over the almost 2 years that we've worked together on this project, she feels that I am more receptive to receiving feedback. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I think made me to become more receptive, and in a way obviously reflecting it through how I receive feedback, and ultimately loving the fact that my boss was able to see. She's a very open and professional person, so she'll tell you the truth the way it is. So yeah, so I must mention that receiving feedback is not something that is very easy to do, because especially if it's negative, and how you receive it will determine whether that feedback will improve you or will break you or will make you a certain way. And I'll concentrate so much on receiving negative feedback because I think all of us will love positive feedback. When someone says, Red Rose, you're great, it feels good, but when you say, Red Rose, you're not that good, like, you kind of think a certain way. So anyways, first of all, I think receiving feedback is very important, because I was looking at different quotes today, and one of the quotes that caught my attention was that feedback is breakfast for champions. I was like, wow. So if you're a champion, then you should be excited at receiving feedback. And the other one was about how feedback is not a sign of failure, paraphrased, but it gives you an opportunity to improve, which I agree with 100%. So how do you effectively receive feedback? Number one, the most important thing is to first of all come to terms with some of the weaknesses that you think you might have. Come to terms with the fact that you are not a perfect person. You're work in progress, and you are doing your best to make yourself better. It starts from being proud of the milestones that you've scored so far, and looking forward to really improving yourself. Like for me, I noticed that in this job specifically, like, I was really excited about receiving feedback, because I'm in a season where I really want to grow, I really want to improve, I really want to learn and relearn. So I was determined to say that whatever feedback I will receive from wherever, like, I'm going to see how I can assess it and see if it's beneficial to use or not. But ultimately, my passion for growth and improvement. So first of all, once you come to terms with that, it becomes easier for you now to do the second step, which is the ability to be able to assess the feedback. So mostly feedback, especially when it's negative, if you don't know how to receive it, you might think that it's a personal attack. And automatically, like if it's a personal attack, you want to guard your heart, because you think like someone is really after hating you, after making you feel a certain way. So you become defensive, because you feel someone is attacking who you really are. And sometimes when someone is giving you feedback, you might think that maybe this person is not really seeing the efforts that you're making. You know what I mean? So it's very important that when you receive feedback, especially when it's negative, you want to assess it. Is it an attack on me as an individual, or it's maybe feedback that is trying to make me feel better? So for example, if someone says, Red Rose, you are tough, you are rough, or Red Rose, you are I don't know what word to use, or you are loud. So when someone says that, I want to assess it. What does it mean to be loud? And how I think being loud is based on what I've heard over the years. Because many people say they don't like to interact with people that are loud because they talk nonsense and stuff like that. So if that's my perception of being loud, then I'll be defensive. I'm like, no, I'm not loud. I don't talk a lot. But once I understand that it's okay to be loud and still be wise and still exhibit, maturity, then I'll be comfortable, But once I am comfortable with that feedback, it will give me an opportunity for me to ask them questions. Say, okay, so you mean I'm loud? What exactly do you mean? Maybe then they will start to explain, because at the end of the day, if I don't understand what the feedback is all about, it's hard for me to either do something about it or ignore. So the moment I become defensive, it closes me to asking them questions about why they think like that. And remember, these are people's opinions, so you have the right to reject it or to accept it. But what is important is for you to understand what that feedback is all about, and you have the right to ask questions. Right. The other point is your posture when receiving feedback. Like I said, it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's not. I know what I'm talking about. But the posture is important. When someone is giving you feedback, they can tell that maybe you're broken. They can tell that maybe you are defensive. They can tell that maybe you're upset. They can tell that maybe you've closed your ears, you've shut down, you're like, say what you want to say, I'm not gonna hear anything. People can tell that. And there are some people that will never give you feedback again because they're scared that they'll get the same response. There are some people like myself, you give me that cold shoulder, I'm gonna give you feedback again, because I believe that feedback is very important for your growth, is very important for your improvement. And I must mention that feedback is not there to break you down. I know sometimes maybe in the next video, hopefully I will talk about how to give effective feedback. But I know that when you receive negative feedback, it's hard. But for me now, I've determined in my heart that every negative feedback should be an opportunity for growth. And remember, that's someone's opinion. So if someone says, Red Rose, I don't think you're a good person, that's their opinion. Maybe that's the picture that I've showcased to them. So I should not find an opportunity to justify myself about how I think I am great, about how I think everyone thinks I'm a good person. No, that's their opinion. So the whole world can think that I'm great, but if they feel I'm not great, I should be able to listen to them so that I could get more details about why they think I'm like that. Maybe it means that I need to change a certain way, the way I talk, the way I interact with them. Maybe subconsciously, I give them an attitude. I may never know. All right, my time is almost up. All in all, I want to mention that receiving feedback is not something that it is easy, but it's something that is very beneficial. And I also want to mention that you have the right to either ignore the feedback that you receive, or to do something about the feedback that you receive. And all in all, I want you to know that a feedback is someone's opinion, and you can't change someone's opinion over you, but you can learn and see if it's necessary, if it's relevant for you to use it in your day-to-day life. I want to finish by saying this quote that I mentioned earlier, that feedback you know, is breakfast for the champions. And I believe that if you are watching this video, you are a champion. You are a champion, and I want to steer you so that you can get excited at receiving feedback, because it's from that negative feedback that you receive that you become a better person. I pray for you. I pray that God will give you the grace, you know, to receive feedback. Thank you.